Hey everyone, welcome back to Learn English program. As promised, I'm back with the second part of the elements of a sentence in English. In the first part, you were introduced to 5 basic elements of a sentence in English, and now you will study them in detail with illustrations and examples. But before that, we have to figure out what a sentence actually is. Sentence is grammatically a complete idea, or the simplest and shortest definition of sentence could be, sentence is a group of words that conveys a complete meaning, and it consists of a subject and a predicate. Now, what's a subject? Okay, all the sentences have a noun or pronoun component, that is the doer of the action, that is called the subject. And the rest part of the sentence is called the predicate. The predicate is the verb part of the sentence that consists of verb and other words like object, complement, and adverbials. So, in brief, we can say a sentence is a bunch or a group of words that say one complete thing or that convey a complete meaning. And every sentence has a subject and a predicate. So we can say the smallest sentence consists of subject and verb. Okay, so let's say we have got a sentence here, and that is the baby smiled. In this sentence, the baby is subject and smiled is the predicate. So in this sentence, the baby is performing the action, it's the doer, so we say it's the subject of the sentence. And the rest of the part in the sentence is predicate. Now let's look at the second example. In this sentence, a big fat dog won the competition. Now what's the subject? It's not one word subject in this sentence. A big fat dog. This complete chunk of words is subject. And the rest of the part of this sentence, won the competition, is predicate. So the simple way to identify predicate is everything that's not the subject is predicate in a sentence. And a subject as well as predicate can have more than one word, as we have seen in the second example. So there are 2 points to be considered. Number 1, the smallest sentence has subject and verb, and a subject can be a noun or pronoun that is partnered with an action or state verb. So, dear students, out of this interpretation, we find 3 main points about the sentence. There are 2 main parts of a sentence, the subject and predicate. And these 2 parts make up the 2 basic structural parts of any complete sentence. In addition, there are other elements contained within the predicate that add meaning or detail. These elements include the verb, direct object, indirect object, complement, and adverbials. Hence, a sentence may be composed of 5 different elements: subjects, verbs, objects, complements, and adverbials. Here, you can pause the video and note down all these elements. Let's pick up all these elements separately and do understand what do they mean. Here I would like to draw your attention towards some basic elements of a sentence that you usually find in the sentences around you. As we discussed earlier also, the basic parts of a sentence are the subject, the verb, and often but not always the object. What is a subject? The subject in English grammar is usually a noun. That's a word that names a person, place, or thing. Or it can be a pronoun. How will you identify a subject in a sentence? Well, it's quite simple. Just check the word or a group of words that is the doer of the action is the subject of that sentence. Okay, on the basis of these 2 identification which I gave to you, just try to find out the subject in these 3 sentences. Sentence number 1. Krish plays the guitar. We had a picnic in the park. Cause it's a matter of past. In the current scenario, we cannot, or rather we should not have picnics. Well, the sentence number 3 is one of my friends helped me. take your time and identify the subject in these sentences. You want to check the answers? Okay. In the first sentence, Krish is the subject and it's a noun. And in the second sentence, we is the subject, that's a pronoun. And the third one, we have the subject phrase, one of my friends. And all these three examples show that who is doing the action in that particular sentence. So the doer of the action is the subject of the sentence. Of course, in the active voice. The next second important element of a sentence is the verb. The verb is a word or a group of words that indicates an action, event, or a state. The verb can be just a single word or group of words containing main verb and auxiliary verbs. That's also known as helping verbs. Now please read these sentences and find out verbs in these sentences. Although it's quite easy to identify because the word which indicates an action, event, or state. In the first sentence, I love my country. In this sentence, the word love is the example of a single verb and it shows the state. In the second sentence, he ran fast. Again, we have the example of a single word verb, that is ran, and it shows the action. The sentences number 3 and 4 on this slide give us the example of an auxiliary verb used with the main verb. Please read these sentences and pay your attention to the words in bold. In the third sentence, she had submitted the assignment before the deadline. The word had is an auxiliary verb or helping verb and submitted is the main verb. In the same way, in the sentence number 4, they will be traveling at this time next year. Will be is the helping verb and traveling is the main verb. The next element of a sentence is object. Here I give you a sentence. Now first read the sentence and then go for the definition of an object. Read this sentence. The teacher motivated the students. As we have already studied what is a subject and what is a verb, so I think you can identify in this sentence what is an object. Take your time. Well, here's the answer. The teacher motivated the students. The students is the object in this sentence, as the object is a word or group of words that receives the action from the verb. Motivated, who are motivated? The students. They are receiving this action. That's why students are the object of this sentence. There are 3 types of objects: direct object, indirect object, and object of preposition. Dear students, now do understand what are the types of object. The direct object receives the action from the verb and it's used with transitive verbs. For example, in this sentence, the children are playing football. Football is the direct object. It's receiving the action directly. The indirect object tells who the direct object is for or to. It's used with ditransitive verbs. Ditransitive verbs means verbs that require 2 objects. For example, the doctor gave me an advice. The verb gave is used as ditransitive as it takes 2 objects, me and an advice. Here, me is the indirect object because the advice, which is the direct object, is for or given to me. So that's an indirect object and advice is the direct object. There is one another layman way to identify the direct object, and that is inanimate objects are usually used as direct object. The same sentence can be written by using the direct object at the first place and afterwards the indirect object. It reads, the doctor gave an advice to me. Preposition to is used before the indirect object. So the third type of the object is the object of prepositions that stands after a preposition such as at, on, in, for, etc. For example, He is good at maths. I hope all these examples have cleared what is an object and its types. The fourth element of a sentence is complement. Complement is a word, phrase, or clause that is needed to complete a given expression. It completes the meaning of a subject or object. Dear students, don't get confused between compliment that is given to praise someone and here this compliment in English grammar that's to complete something. And the spelling of these two terms also differ, and they are homophones. Just check the spelling here on this slide for this complement in English grammar. There are two types of complement: subject complement and object complement. As the name suggests, subject complement completes the meaning of subject and usually stands after linking verb. It can be an adjective, noun, or pronoun that follows a linking verb. Now, what's a linking verb? Any form of the verb be, like am, is, are, was, were, has been, are being, might have been, etc. Become, seem, and look. These are some more examples. For example, Mr. Banerjee is a businessman. Here, the noun businessman is a subject complement because it completes the meaning of the subject. It relates to subject. Subject complements are of two types: predicate nominatives and predicate adjectives. In this example, we have this businessman as predicate nominatives. Let's have a look on the example of predicate adjectives. This photograph looks nice. In this sentence, the word nice is the subject complement and it's an example of predicate adjective. The object complement completes the meaning of object as its name suggests. It normally stands after direct object. Please look at these examples. James calls his dog Tiger. Second example is the members elected him their chief. Suppose if we remove these underlined words which are object complement in these sentences, do these sentences have a complete meaning? No. If I say James calls his dog, it's an incomplete one. In the same way, the members elected him. Again, it sounds incomplete. Here we have a subject, a verb, and an object, but still it does not make complete sense. In this case, we need a word or phrase to complete the meaning of the object, and that's in the first sentence, tiger, and in the second sentence, their president. Likewise, the subject complement. The object complement can be an adjective or an adjective phrase, noun or pronoun phrase. Fifth and last element of a sentence is the adverbial. An adverbial is a word or group of words that is used as an adverb in a sentence. The adverbial could be an adverb, adverb phrase, or prepositional phrase used as an adverb. Everything would be quite crystal clear when you will look at these examples. The first example is I get up early. The word early is an adverb here that shows the time. In the second sentence, that's he has gone home. The word home denotes the place. So this is an adverb of place. Many of the students get confused between object and this adverbial. Just check what's the function the word plays here. He has gone home. It denotes the place. So it's an adverb of place. In the third sentence, he drives very carefully. Very carefully is adverb phrase. And in the last sentence, we will meet after lunchtime. This is a prepositional phrase used as an adverb that denotes when. Dear students, there is a suggestion for better understanding. You just go to another lesson that is parts of speech and its link is in the card shown above. Please click on that card and you will be redirected to that lesson. Here comes the practice part. There are some sentences given on the sheet. Just try to identify all those elements of a sentence in English. Hope you have already seen the first part of this lesson. and in that part, we have given you 3 sentences. You can check your answers here. In the first sentence, the word I is the subject. Next, love is the verb and my country is the object. In the second sentence, this photograph is the subject. Looks, verb. Nice, compliment. In the third sentence, he is the subject. Drives is verb. Very carefully is the adverbial phrase. I hope now you have understood what are the elements of a sentence in English. If you have any doubt or any query, any question, you can write down in the comment section below. I would be happy to answer. Thank you. Happy learning.